Good. Is it morning? I think it's. Let's see if is it morning or afternoon. It's still morning. Good morning. Hope you're having a great week. It is Wednesday, January 21st, I believe. 10:40 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, local time here in Aurora, Oregon, just south of Portland. And I just threw in 60 gallons of fuel. And now I'm going to try to get out of here. Is this guy pulling up and stopping or? Nope. Pulling all the way through. All right, these folks are going straight through this way. I'm going to go to the right because if you go this way, you basically have to do a hairpin U-turn to get out onto the road. I want to go around this way, so I have... Oh, this is a huge pothole. Let's go slow through this. I want to go this way so I don't have to do basically a U-turn to get out of here like these guys are doing. So what I'm doing right now is I'm relocating. I booked a load that's picking up in Stayton, Oregon, which is just east of Salem, Oregon, about 38 miles from where we're at right now, according to Google. I don't see vehicles coming from either direction. So I booked this load on Monday, I believe. And it picks up tomorrow. It's a preloaded trailer that's supposed to be ready tomorrow, but this place is notorious for trailers not being ready on time. No parking anytime. Does not apply to these folks. They are special. They are unique. They are snowflakes. Even though there's plenty of parking here at the truck stops, they're just going to park on the shoulder of the road. So, why didn't I drive over there on Monday, and why am I driving over there a day early? Well, a few reasons. So the reason I didn't go over there too early is because there's no amenities there. There's no shower. That Schneider almost ran the red. Our light's been green for a few seconds, but Heartland's been having to sit here and wait for all these people that are running the red light. Dumbasses. Schneider's pulled out into the crosswalk because they almost ran the damn red. So I didn't want to get them there too early because I don't have access to a restroom. I don't have access to... Ooh, my power plug came unplugged on my phone. Let me plug that back in. I don't want the phone to die. It's only 40 minutes. 40 minutes to an hour, roughly. But... Just a second here. All right, bear with me while we get on the interstate. We're getting on to I-5 southbound right now. So I didn't want to get there too early because there's a lack of amenities, and I didn't want to get there too late because I want to be able to take a 10-hour break before I pick the load up. And I don't know when the load's going to be ready. They're notorious for being late. Got a bucket on the right side of the road, so I'm hugging the left side. And there is no merge lane. It just goes straight onto the interstate. Thank you for moving over for me, box truck. 23 miles to Salem. In Salem, we're going to get onto State Road 22 and head east for like, I don't know, 15 miles or so. Speed limit 65, truck speed limit is 60. I'm doing 59 right now. And I just set my cruise at 60. So let's talk about what's been going on with me and all that good stuff. So anyway, I want to get there as early as possible in case the trailer is ready early, and so that I can take a 10-hour break and have all of my drive time available once the trailer's ready. I want to be able to do a full drive shift once the trailer is ready. I don't want to spend 2 hours, of my drive time. There's a vehicle on the shoulder. I'm just looking to see if I need to change lanes for it. With traffic moving as fast as it is and me going slow, I'm not going to move over unless I feel I need to. They're pretty far off the shoulder. I don't see anybody walking around. So we're just going to stay in our lane. Way station in 2 miles. I did put my new IFTA stickers on the truck yesterday or the day before. I can't remember when. So I removed the old IFTA stickers. I had 2 of them on each side, and I put the new 2026 ones on. And I was surprised at, after I put my stickers on, I started looking around. I was surprised at how many trucks did not have their 2026 IFTA stickers on. All the trucks around me had 2025 IFTA stickers on still. My toll transponder, I just got the bypass, which usually means they're closed. My toll transponder is beeping at me, indicating that I just had some signal. It's just beeping like crazy. I don't know why it beeps like that. Just a second here. I see a bunch of people exiting to the way station. They're actually open. Wow, I got a bypass on an open way station, and everybody is pulling in. I'm going to go ahead and tap my brakes, turn my cruise off, because we have traffic slowing for the exit to the way station. And then we're going to have slow-moving traffic merging back on the other side of the way station. Last time I talked with Landstar during when I was at one of their terminals doing some kind of class or something, they told me our CSA score sucked. Like, we were below satisfactory. Just a second here. I'm watching just a second here. These four-wheelers are not letting me over. All right, now I'm not going to get over. They jammed me. This asshole in the silver car just jammed me into this lane. So now there's no point in me moving over. I just had to slow down to let this truck in front of me. And now I've got another four-wheeler alongside of me, so I can't move over for the other truck that wanted to merge on. I had my signal on, but they just wouldn't move over for me. What were we talking about? IFTA stickers. We made it past that, right? I don't remember. Way station. Oh, the CSA score. Sorry, the truck that merged on behind me is just riding my ass. I think it's a box truck. I think they might be mad that I didn't move over for them. Man, I tried. I tried. They wouldn't let me over. That's no excuse for riding 15 feet off my damn bumper. So, yeah, the last time I heard directly from a Landstar employee, they told me our CSA score sucked. It was below satisfactory. And they said that what happened, just a second here, we got somebody on the shoulder. I got a truck passing me, and then the box truck that was tailgating me is also passing me. Oh, that's not a box truck. It's a day cab pulling a trailer. But they said that the reason that the CSA score tanked at Landstar was because they lowered their hiring. Well, it's not an employee relationship, so hiring is not the right word. Just a second here. I'm jammed into this lane, and I have a ton of merging traffic. Winco Foods. I think I'm going to make it past the on-ramp before Winco gets on. I was trying to decide if I needed to slow down for them. So whenever we had the freight boom, right the very first year that happened, Landstar lowered their standards so that they could increase their fleet size to get a piece of that pie, which is what a lot of trucking companies do. Whenever freight rates are amazing, they just expand their fleet as quickly as possible and crash the rates like the geniuses that they are. And then we deal with really crappy rates for a couple of years while the fleet size shrinks again. You know, that's the cycle. But anyway, Landstar was, you know, getting their stupid on and increasing their fleet size as much as possible. They were lowering their standards, bringing on people that they normally... Sorry, I had to turn my cruise off. Traffic in front of me is not going at a consistent speed. Now the van's pulling away from me after I turned my cruise off, but I was catching up with it. But they lowered their standards. Now, again, I'm a partner of Landstar. I'm not an employee. I don't have any kind of insider information with Landstar. This is just something a Landstar... I don't even know if they were an employee or a contractor. I don't know if the people the trainers at Landstar, I don't know if they are direct employees or contractors. But anyway, the people that worked at the terminal, the explanation that they gave as to why the CSA rating tanked so quickly in such a short amount of time is that Landstar brought on a lot of people. They leased on a lot of people that they normally would not have leased on. And it started tanking their CSA score. These people getting tickets and accidents. So then Landstar started a purge. And people on social media don't tend to air their dirty laundry. Usually what you get from somebody on social media is just the highlights of the good times of their life. They typically don't talk about the bad things that happen. And if they do, they usually make up some story to spin it to where it wasn't their fault, you know, that kind of stuff. But I did notice whenever Landstar was doing their purge, getting rid of all of those people, I did notice some YouTube truckers posting. I noticed at least one, maybe two YouTube truckers that leased on to Landstar during that time posted that Landstar just terminated their contract out of nowhere. They didn't get a ticket. They didn't get an accident, nothing. They just had their contract terminated out of the blue. They weren't given a reason why. And they didn't do anything. But I was told that Landstar did a purge. They went through and reviewed all the people that came on during that time period, and anyone that they normally wouldn't have leased on, they went through and cut them. But that was a long time ago. Typically, I think the CSA score stuff only stays on for 3 years. It might be 5. I think it's 3 years. So maybe Landstar CSA score is good now. I haven't heard anything recently. There was another driver that told me that Landstar had an amazing CSA score, like a 90% CSA score or something like that. I think it's 60% is satisfactory, and the last I heard, we were below 60%. But I think it was a driver when I was delivering a Google load in Atlanta was telling me that our CSA score was like 90% or something like that. And I was like, what? Really? Wow, I did not know that. Last I heard, we were at like 55 or 50% or something like that. So I don't know if that's true. I don't really believe a lot of stuff that I'm told at truck stops or I'm told by truck drivers. There's just so many bullshitters. Just make up facts. But anyway, enough about I started talking about the CSA score because of the weigh station, and the light is so bright coming in from the left. I need to get sunglasses. I wear prescription glasses, and I keep meaning to order some sunglasses. The glasses I have right now are polarized, but polarized glasses don't activate in a car because they activate on UV rays, and the windshields and all of the windows in a car block out UV rays. So my sunglasses don't get activated inside the truck. 12 miles until our exit, and we'll get off I-5 onto State Road 22. So yeah, what I'm going to do when I get there is I'm going to go park the trailer. I'm going to drop the trailer, and then I'm going to bobtail over to their office. I might even just walk over to their office. I might not even bother bobtailing. I might walk over there because it's not a very long walk. So I might just drop the trailer and then park the truck and then walk over and check in at the office, let them know that I'm there, give them my phone number so that they can call me as soon as the trailer is ready. And I'm also going to ask them like what the current ETA is. Is it going to be ready on time, early, late? What can you tell me about the ETA of the trailer? So that I can have some kind of idea of when to go to sleep, so that I can get a full rest before I start the load. I want to know when it's going to be ready so I know when to go to sleep. And as far as the load goes, it's supposed to be ready. Initially, they told me 9 a.m. whenever I booked the load, but they just sent me an email confirming. They sent me an email a couple hours ago wanting me to confirm that I was going to be on time to pick up the trailer at 8 a.m. tomorrow. So now they're telling me the appointment's at 8 a.m. So we'll find out whenever I get there what their current appointment time is, what their ETA is for the trailer. Another reason I didn't want to get there too early is the internet sucks there. The cellular signal sucks there. 10 miles until my exit. I've got a line of vehicles passing me in the center lane. There's 3 trucks with 1 car mixed in there that I can see, and I still see other vehicles behind them, but those are the ones I can see right now. Got my cruise set back at 60, which is the truck speed limit. So every one of these trucks passing me is speeding. There's not a whole lot of law enforcement on the West Coast that I've noticed, and people just tend to do whatever the hell they want. You'll see trucks going 10, 15 over the speed limit all the time over here along the West Coast. And you hardly ever see anybody get pulled over. You hardly ever see any law enforcement in general. So I'm hoping that the trailer is ready as early as possible, because there is a really nasty Arctic blast snowstorm happening in a couple of days. I'm going to, just a second here. This truck is tailgating the shit out of that four-wheeler like they're going to cut me off and try to pass everybody on the right. Just a second here. Let me put my, I'm going to hover my foot over the brake, because this, there he goes. There he goes. And there he goes, flying to pass everybody on the right. And then he's going to have to force his way back over to the center lane, because there's slower traffic in the right lane not too far up ahead. I don't think there's a left lane restriction. I don't know why they just didn't hop out in the left lane. But yeah, what it's looking like as far as weather goes is that I want to get to Colorado as quickly as possible to get ahead of the weather, and then I might want to set through the weekend and wait on the weather. But I don't know if that's going to work out either. Basically, I just need to get to Cheyenne as quickly as possible to try to get ahead of the weather. And then I'm going to, there's a nasty snowstorm through the weekend that's going to be across Colorado and Kansas. I don't know. I'm not sure. I can't remember if it, I don't think it's Colorado. I think it's just Kansas mainly. There's a cop in the center, in the median. All right, truck speed limit's now down to 55. Car speed limit dropped down to 60. And we've got 5.6 miles at our exit. Salem, next 4 exits. And now the cruise is at 55. And then we got somebody on a bicycle on the shoulder. So yeah, I want to get moving as quickly as possible to get ahead of the storm. And then I'm going to have a storm that's unavoidable throughout the weekend. The storm is supposed to be over and done with Sunday afternoon. I think it's Saturday night the storm is supposed to be over and done with. So I might actually end up stopping sorry, I'm just watching the cars around me. I might actually end up stopping in western Colorado or eastern Kansas Saturday. I was planning on doing my Garden City delivery on Saturday, but I might actually stop over in like Colby, Kansas or something like that and do my Garden City, Kansas delivery and my Topeka, one of my Topeka deliveries on Sunday after the snowstorm. The only thing that really, really sucks is that there's an Arctic blast. So after the snowstorm, the temperatures are still going to be really, really cold, like below zero temperatures. So even after the snowstorm, the roads are still going to be snow covered because the treatment that they put on the roads, as far as I know, none of the treatments work below 15 degrees Fahrenheit. And the temperatures are going to be below 15. So all they can do is scrape the snow off the road with plows. They can't put treatment on the road to melt it off. So, and it's supposed to be like really close to 0 degrees or below 15 degrees for, I don't know, through like Wednesday of next week, basically throughout the entire load. So I'm probably going to be dealing, even though it's not actually going to be snowing, I might be dealing with snow-covered roads, snow and icy roads. I mean, when the sun gets on the road, even if, got 2.7 miles, even if it is below freezing temperatures, air temperature, direct sunlight onto the snow might actually melt the snow off of the roads during the daytime. I don't know. It's gonna suck. I'm gonna be dealing with a lot of snowy roads, basically from Wyoming onward. Oh my goodness, that is crazy. There was like a tent city at that off ramp, and they had a really big fire going. There were a whole bunch of like structures made with various materials. There's a whole bunch of other tents along the fence line right there on the right. At the off ramp, it was a bunch of like tarps and stuff like that, makeshift shelters. They weren't actually tents. They were makeshift shelters, like permanent structures or semi-permanent. You get into some of these industrial park areas where there's not a lot of traffic. There's another tent along the fence over on the right. Like get into some of these industrial park areas along the West Coast, and it's just a crazy number of people living along the side of the road. The homelessness is really, there's another little tent city over there in the woods to the right. All right, half a mile until our exit. My temperature gauge says it's 43 degrees outside. The nighttime lows have been, I don't know what lane I need to be in for this exit. This exit is State Road 22 and 99E Business, both. I want to be on 22 East. So we'll just watch the signs. It looks like we might hit a turn signal up here. Yep, there's a turn signal, because this did not look like it was just merging on. All right, we got a double left, so I'm in the correct lane. All right, we have one of the homeless people running across the road right now.
At the light, turn left on Mission Street Southeast.
They're up here begging for money at the corner. Oh, they're not just begging, they're selling something. oranges. I think they're selling them for $10 a bag. All right, now we're on 22. There's another tent city over to the left. That's probably where the oranges person lives. There's a whole bunch of tents over in those, over there in various places to the left. And just trash everywhere. You would expect that these homeless people would migrate south in the winter. But I guess if you're homeless, you kind of limited on your migratory capabilities. There's a huge tent city over on the right. It's like, I don't know, 10 to 12 tents over there. All right, 10 miles until Golf Club Road. Actually, it's 9.1 miles. Golf Club Road. And that is the road. I've taken it before. The first time I went here, I was concerned about what roads to drive through Stayton on because this place is a couple of miles into town. And you get into these small towns and a lot of them have weird truck routes. And I saw Golf Club Road and I was like, yeah, those snobby assholes probably don't want trucks on that road. So first time driving here, I was looking for any kind of truck restrictions on that road and there weren't any. So now I'm not worried about it. I know that trucks are okay to drive on that road. But yeah, if I pick the load up early enough, then I will hopefully not have any bad weather until I get to Kansas. But if it's delayed at all, then I could be dealing with really bad weather across the entire state of Wyoming. But that's just with the current forecast. They're not really good at predicting the future, so I'll just keep watching the forecast and seeing how it evolves. And hopefully there are no problems with the trailer I'm picking up, because that could delay me by a lot if I have to go into the shop. And now I'm going to have another probably 50 straps that I'm going to have to take to the house with me. I already have, I think there were 80 straps in the last one of these loads that I did. So I have 80 straps at my house. I don't need straps. I already had like 15 straps inside the truck. But they tell you to just keep the straps on these loads, and they use like they don't use like little cheap pieces of throwaway rope. They use like full straps, E-track straps. It's not that big of a deal. It's probably, I don't know how cheap they're getting the straps. Last time I bought straps, they weren't very expensive. It's like a couple of dollars per strap if you bought them in bulk. And they're probably buying them in massive bulk. So they're probably paying, I would guess, somewhere between $1 and $5 per strap. So even if they're paying $5 a strap, I don't know, that's $400 in straps on that last load that had 80 straps in it. Somewhere between like $80 and $400 is what they spent on straps on that last load. Garden City, Kansas is the main delivery that I'm worried about, especially with the snow. That is a bi-directional road. It's a pretty nice bi-directional road with a wide shoulder, but I just don't like getting off the interstate whenever there's snow. They don't maintain state roads or highways or anything as well as they maintain interstates when it's snowing. And my experience with Kansas and snow is that they don't really maintain the roads much at all. They just shut the roads down if accidents start happening. .7 miles until our exit, and then we're gonna drive through town for like 3 miles to get to the location. And then we'll drop the trailer, park the truck, and I think I'll just walk over and check in. It's 11 a.m. local time. It would be absolutely phenomenal if the trailer was ready today, like 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Oh, that would be amazing. Any early, like I just hope it's not late. That's what I really hope. But anything early will be absolutely phenomenal. The earlier, the better. Are you serious? A railroad crossing? Right across a divided highway. Just couldn't make a bridge, huh? 2.3 miles until our exit. And I hope the picture quality is decent. I can't see anything with how bright it is in here. I should have washed off the window. The window is dusty. I've been sitting at the truck stop for like 3 weeks, and there's just been a lot of dust accumulating on the truck. 1.8 miles till Golf Club Road. The fuel plan is I just put in 60 gallons. at the truck stop in Aurora, the TA there. And that got me up to a little over 3/4 of a tank. And it's approximately 600 miles, 570 miles or 540, I forget exactly, from the TA to Stayton, and then back up, through Portland, and then all the way to the TA in Boise. It's a total of under 600 miles. I can't remember if it was 540 or 570 from the time I put in fuel, the total amount of mileage. And then I'm going to have idle time where I'm going to be idling the truck. That's going to burn some fuel. So 3/4 of a tank, over 3/4 of a tank, should be plenty of fuel to get me all the way to Boise. I should have about 1/4 of a tank whenever I get to Boise. Is that an emergency vehicle coming from the other direction? I think I see a red flashing light way up ahead on the other side of the road. Half a mile till our exit. It looks like an ambulance coming from the other direction.
Half a mile. Take exit 12 for Golf Club Road.
Let's go ahead and turn the cruise off and get ready for our exit. Throw the signal on. But yeah, my cost for fuel after discount, not including fuel tax, my cost at the TA in Aurora was $2.66 a gallon. In Boise, I think it's $2.36. So 30 cents a gallon cheaper. So I plan on,
Next stop sign. Turn right.
I don't know if I'm going to top off there.
At the stop
That's a decision I'm going to have to make.
Golf Club Road southeast.
Just let me do some driving here. That's a decision I'm going to have to make later. And then I'm going to top off in Laramie. Laramie is $2.19 a gallon. And I don't have any plans on fueling after Laramie. Laramie will get me probably all the way to the house. There's a weight restriction on this bridge that if you're loaded, if you're max weight, you can't drive on this bridge. So let's see what it says. For 7 axles, 31 tons. Six axles, I can't remember what it said. How many axles do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 axles. So 31 tons. We don't even have 7 axles. I didn't see what the lower axle stuff was. But 31 tons is 62,000 pounds. It's 2,000 pounds per ton. So the max weight that I can be, my total vehicular weight, including the cargo, the truck, the trailer, everything, is 80,000 pounds without some kind of special permit, without an overweight permit. So the truck and trailer empty without any cargo weighs about 35,000 pounds. And all of the loads coming out of this place are light. The load that I'm picking up weighs 10,000 pounds. So I'm going to be 45,000 pounds whenever I leave here. So I still should be under. Welcome to Stayton, population 8,400. We're going 38. Speed limit is 45 according to the sign. I don't know what speed limit's been up to this point. It's probably been 55, but we're doing 38. Got a stop sign coming up. Slowing down. We got 3/4 of a mile until we take a right. Four-way stop. Way station ahead closed.
Half a mile. Turn right on Sheets Drive.
Half a mile until our right. Sorry, I'm just watching for cars pulling out in front of me. These people, I don't know, some of the people in these small towns are like overly courteous to trucks, and others will just get terrified of being behind you and they'll pull out in front of you, cut you off.
Sheets Drive. Then you'll take your first left onto Willamette Avenue.
All right, this is our, let's make sure there's nobody coming from the other direction because there's not enough room. I need all the lanes. No overnight parking on street. I don't know if that sign was there last time I was here. There, this pickup's going for it. There's not enough lanes, dumbass. What a moron.
Turn left into the parking lot.
See, some people are just overly aggressive. Some people are overly courteous.
Turn left onto Road Avenue.
And that guy was overly aggressive.
Take your next left into the parking lot.
All right. Let me turn my, I'm undoing my belt because I need to make a right turn right here, and we're going to be pulling into their, why are all these people parked all over the road? This is their drop yard over here on the right. And is there anybody coming? Because I can't see anything. There's so many trailers parked alongside the road here. I don't even know if I'm going to have anywhere to park my trailer. Like last time I was here, it was not overrun like this. They must be doing a shift change. There's tons of people walking around here. Yeah, I don't know that I'm going to be able to find a spot to put the trailer in. Oh, I think I see some spots over straight across from where I'm at.
Head toward Road Avenue.
Let's go ahead and turn the four ways on. And yeah, there's a spot right there and another spot right there. Let's roll the window down so I can stick my head out the window. Oh, great. Got that really bright sun shining in my eyes. Just a second here. I can't see very well. Well, kind of looks like I know what I'm doing. All right, I am going to get out and just double check because, like, you never know how close these trailers are parked together. I could be, parking and going and be perfect on this left side here, and then the trailer on the right side might be so far over that I don't even have enough room to get the trailer in there, and I'll just back straight into it. So just want to see how much room I've got on this side. It looks like I'm good. Looks like I got plenty of room. There's an average size parking space. Looks like I'm going to be backing right up against something. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the lock from the trailer. I'll be right back. And I'm sitting here thinking, I don't know where in the hell I'm going to park, where I'm going to hang out at, because I'm not sure if there was any room. Normally, where all those trailers were at on the way in here, that's normally where you would park your truck while you wait on a load. But they have trailers parked all through there. I don't know. I'll have to drive around and look for a spot. I can't park in one of these trailer spots because they're hurting so bad for parking spots. So what I'll do, all right, let me see how close I am to that stuff behind me. I've got about 10 feet behind me until I hit the stuff, but I'm already pulled back further than most of these trailers. So what I'm going to do is, since the spots you normally park in look like they're taken up, I am going to just go ahead and walk over there and check in. And while I'm walking over there and checking in, I'm going to see if I can't spot a place to park and wait. So I'm just going to stay right here, hooked up to the trailer for now. And then after I check in, I'll whatever. I'll figure out where I'm going to park at. So I'm going to pause this. I'll be back in a minute. All right, so I can't find anywhere to safely park. So I'm just going to stay right here connected to the trailer. Well, I disconnected from the trailer, but I didn't pull out from underneath it. There should be enough room for the yard dog to park trailers in here and for people to get trailers in and out. Barely with me parked here. This place is so tight that really I would be pissed off if I had to park a trailer in here and there was somebody, parked in front of a trailer, because these parking spots are so tight. They're designed for trucks to not be parked in front of the trailers. With trucks parked in front of the trailers, it makes it nearly impossible to get trailers in and out around them. But I can't find any other place to park. There is an empty spot to my left that I could, disconnect and park in. But I think that would piss off the yard dog more than me just parking, attached to the trailer. I don't know. We'll just have to sit here and wait. But yeah, this place is a great example of cheap freight. It's one of the reasons I don't like hauling cheap freight, is because whenever you haul cheap freight, not only is the load itself cheap, but you're operating under that cheap freight business model where the people that they hire are not paid very well. So they have poor attitudes. They don't do their job. They really half-ass their job. and they don't really care about getting fired because they can go across the street and get another job same day, and make just as much, if not more. And then the places that they rent or lease or purchase are inadequate for their needs. Like this place, they do not have enough space for their needs. So, like, they're using the parking lot for storage. There's just tons and tons of windows and window material for making windows, just stacked outside everywhere out in the parking lot around here. And they've put up that sign along the road that we saw coming in that there's no parking along the roadway because they didn't have room for the trailers. So they just started parking the trailers along the roadway. So they clogged up the public street with trailers using it for storage. So yeah, it's just annoying. I should have looked at the trailer. They told me what door the trailer was in, and I should have went over there and looked at it, and it just looked for just obvious issues like flat tires. But I did not bother to look at the trailer. So basically what happened was I walked up to them, checked in. I said, hey, I'm here. I'm checking in for a load that's supposed to be ready tomorrow morning around 8 a.m. And I said, do you want my pickup number? And they said, does it start with a 406? And I said, yeah. And so I gave them my pickup number. And they were just like, yeah, it's supposed to be ready tomorrow at 8 a.m. I was like, okay. Is it on time? Like, is that the current ETA of when it's supposed to be ready? And I don't think they understood my meaning. And they said, yeah, it's supposed to be ready by 8 a.m. It's like, oh, awesome. These are the type of geniuses I'm working with. I said, can you take down my phone number and have them call me when it's ready? And they said, yeah. So they wrote my phone number down and on a sticky note and stuck it up on their little uh, chalkboard that had all the loads listed on it. They put a little sticky note next to the load with my phone number. So um, hopefully it's not late. At this point, I don't think it's there. I don't think there's much chance that it's going to be ready early. I'm just hoping it's not late. So what time is it local time here? 11:52 a.m. And it's supposed to be ready by tomorrow at 8 a.m. That sounds like they have plenty of time to load it. But the last trailer that I picked up here, they started loading it took them like a week to load the trailer. Um, the trailer was initially supposed to be picked up on like a Friday, I think. Thursday or Friday, and then it got delayed until Monday. And then I ended up not picking up the trailer until like I think Wednesday was when I finally picked the trailer up. So they had been loading that trailer for over a week. So just because the trailer's in the door getting loaded right now and they have like a full day to load it, that doesn't mean anything. They take forever to load these trailers. So I don't know. I'm just thinking through the scenarios in my head, thinking about like when I should go to sleep, how early might the trailer be ready. Typically, the night shift people, they're not going to call me. Even if the trailer's ready overnight, they're usually not going to call. So the earliest somebody might call and tell me the trailer's ready is whenever the day shift people come on at like 7 a.m. tomorrow. Because the night shift people are just lazy. So yeah, I think I'm just going to try to be asleep, try to be in bed by like 10. I think I'm going to plan on sleeping from like 10 to 6. 10 to 6. And as soon as the trailer's ready, just haul ass out of here and just try to make it across Wyoming as quickly as possible before the storm gets too bad. But weather predictions across Wyoming don't matter much because Wyoming is a state that has unpredictable weather. You know, they could say that it's going to be 70 and sunny, and you could have a blizzard across like a 20-mile section of I-80. Wyoming's just weird like that. Up at those high elevations, you can have localized weather. So, yeah, I guess I'm just gonna. My cell signal actually doesn't look that bad. I've got 3/4 of a bar. Last time I was here, I remember like my signal was terrible. So I don't know. I think I'll sit here and play video games, watch a movie. I'll find something to do. I'm just kind of burn out right now on playing video games and watching movies because I've had so much free time lately. I usually just end up sitting there just scrolling through YouTube trying to find something that looks like it's worth watching, or scrolling through lists of movies trying to find something that looks like it's worth watching, or scrolling through lists of video games trying to find something worth playing. You know what I might do? There's actually two video games on. I don't know how many of you play video games. The trucking community in general is not a community that's known for having tech people or video game people in it. So most of you probably do not care about video games. But anyway, that's one of my hobbies. That's like one of my favorite things to do is play video games. So I generally, I occasionally will talk about it here on the channel. So there's actually two video games that I might maybe end up playing. One of them I can't play right now. The other one I can. So the one that I can play right now is called Ashes of Creation. And it just recently, within the last month or so, went into early access on Steam, which for people who are not gamers, basically around, I don't know, 10 years ago approximately. I'm not sure exactly when it happened. For a long time, the gaming community wanted access to games before they released. And that eventually happened. Up a long time ago, before this happened, about 10 or 15 years ago, gaming companies they were super secretive with video games until they actually launched. Because if you saw a video game before it was ready, you would probably just be so deterred from the game that when it launched, you wouldn't bother buying it. Because before games launch, a lot of times their graphics look terrible, the gameplay is terrible, the games themselves are just terrible. They get a lot of polish before they hit launch. But the gaming community was begging to let companies play video games while they were still being developed. And there were some game companies that were like, you know what? We could actually get ongoing funding. We could charge people to access games pre-launch. We could give them early access to the game and charge them for it, and that would give us development money. So early access basically started out with a bunch of small gaming studios that were lacking in funding, they were using early access as a means to fund the development of the game. But anyway, enough about early access. Early access is basically paying to play the game before it's ready for launch. And some of these games will give you early access like 10 years before they launch. Like Star Citizen has been in early access for I don't know how long. It's probably been close to 10 years at this point. Um, People laugh at whether Star Citizen is actually ever going to launch. I think that they've made over $500 million in revenue from the game selling early access uh, stuff, like access to the game and selling access to ships and stuff like that in the game, selling in-game items. They've made probably over $500 million, and the game may never end up launching. But this is turning into an early access thing. I was just trying to explain what early access is. So recently, a game called Ashes of Creation launched in early access on Steam. So it's an unfinished game, and it got a lot of really negative reviews when it launched in early access because people were really disappointed with the state of the game. A lot of people, once they got access to the game, they realized how bad the game was and how it's not ready. It's not like it could be years away from launch. A lot of people thought that it was really close to launch, but once they were able to play the game in early access this past month, they realized it's not close to launch. So it really disappointed a lot of people because a lot of people have been backing the game for years, and now they're realizing that it's still years away from release. But that is one of the games that I am thinking about playing. There's a lot of negatives to it. Like I said, it got a lot of really bad reviews. It's got a lot of problems. And another big negative with the game, aside from it being an unfinished game, is that it is an open world PvP game, player versus player game, meaning that anyone can attack you anytime they want outside of a city. So you can be a level 1 out there trying to gather oranges because you're homeless living in a tent along the road. So you're just out there trying to gather some oranges to sell to people passing by, and some level 70 person can come by and one-shot you and take your oranges. I'm not a big fan of open world unrestricted PvP games like that because it's not competitive player versus player. It's just ganking. It's just people going out and getting their characters really powerful and then going around and killing people that have no chance against them. There's a lot of people that enjoy doing that. I don't understand that. I don't understand what thrill people get out of beating up people that have no chances. It'd be like it'd be like me beating up a 5-year-old kid. Like, what joy would, like, that's the way that I look at these people in video games that have like these max level characters and this amazing gear, and then they go and kill people in starter areas. I think you have to have some kind of mental health issue. You have to be like a psychopath or a sociopath or something to get some kind of thrill out of just hurting other people like that, just causing other people, pain or annoying other people. That's weird to me. I just don't understand that behavior. But a lot of people just love that stuff and are attracted to those types of games. I like PvP whenever it's, like in World of Warcraft, the battlegrounds and stuff like that, where people are all of roughly equal gear and everybody that is participating in player versus player. You're not like catching them, AFK. You're surprising them and killing them while they're not at the keyboard or something like that. I enjoy that kind of PvP, but open world just PvP, the ganking, I don't understand that. So that's the main reason that I haven't bought the game and tried it, is because it's an open world PvP game. And there, a lot of the negative reviews are talking about the PvP system, how there are no consequences. Like usually open world PvP games, there's going to be some kind of penalty for you murdering someone in the game. But apparently Ashes of Creation, their penalty system is so negligible that there really isn't any penalty for people killing you in the open world. So, yeah, that's the main reason I haven't bought that game. I'm still on the fence on whether or not I'm going to buy it and give it a try. That's one of the games I'm thinking about. Another game that I'm thinking about playing is Star Wars Galaxies. It's a really old game. It's a game that I've played since it launched, off and on. It launched in, I think, 2003. I think it was 2003 when it launched. Somewhere around 2003 to 2005, somewhere in that area. But I basically played the game since it launched. The game shut down years ago. So now you can only play the game on private servers, community servers. And I used to run a private server for Star Wars Galaxies. And Daybreak Games started suing private servers. And I shut my private server down because I just didn't want to get caught up in a lawsuit. What brought it on was an EverQuest private server that was monetizing the server, like charging people for in-game items. And supposedly they were making $100,000 a month off of the game. And Daybreak Games sued them. And it caused a whole bunch of servers to shut down. Daybreak Games has intellectual rights to EverQuest, Star Wars Galaxies, and a whole bunch of other games. So I just, shortly after that lawsuit and a whole bunch of servers for EverQuest shut down, I decided to just shut down my Star Wars Galaxy server because there was hardly anybody playing on the server because I didn't advertise the server. I told hardly anyone about the server because I didn't want a whole bunch of people playing on it, because I told the few people that were playing on it that I might shut the server down at any time. There's no guarantee. I'm not guaranteeing any amount of time that I'm going to keep this server running. So I didn't want to bring a bunch of people onto the server, and then I would feel guilty if I ever wanted to shut the server down. So there was hardly anybody playing on it, and I just decided to shut it down. And one of the people that was playing on my server, there was actually a professional programmer. He helped me do some code on the server. He decided to start up his own server, very similar to my server, for all the people that were playing on my server. And he actually launched that server a few months ago. And I was actually looking at getting on his server and playing on it a few days ago, but just last week, his router broke and his internet is out at his house. So the server is offline and he's waiting on a new router to show up in the mail so that he can get his internet back up and running. So I cannot play on that server right now. And I just made a whole bunch of suggestions to him while I'm sitting around waiting for him to bring the server up. I made a whole bunch of suggestions of things for him to do on his server. There are things that I wanted to do on my server, but I'm not a programmer. So I was limited in what I could do on my server because of my limited skill set. I can edit code, I can modify code, I can add in some snippets of code, but to do like start from scratch, do like an entire section of code or an entire page of code from scratch. I can't do that. All I can basically do is modify existing code. Now, I can do some pretty big modifications, but that's all I can really do is modify existing code. And it takes me a long time to do that because like I'm not a programmer. I'm just like, I don't know. I know enough about it that I can kind of understand what it's doing, and I can modify it and I can add in some code and stuff like that. So another reason that I was limited is because I wasn't willing to modify the client. The game is comprised of two different things. It has the server and it has the client. The server runs at my house, and then the client runs on the person's computer that's connecting to my server. I didn't want to maintain client files. So I didn't want to have to provide files for people to download and update their client and deal with all that drama. So I would only do modifications that were server side, which really limited what I was able to do. Well, with Joyce, that's his name, since he's a professional programmer, he does it for a living, he's able to like do almost any, well, not almost any, like he's mainly a web developer. He doesn't really, he's a lot better than me at the programming the server, but he still is limited in what he can do with it. But there's a lot more possibility with him on the programming side. Plus, he is modifying the client, and he's running his own launcher to do client updates. So this just opens up tons of possibilities that he can do on his server. So I've gone into his suggestion section on his Discord and started dumping a whole bunch of the ideas of things that I wanted to do on my server that I couldn't do. And he's been replying and he's like, oh yeah, I like these. I'm going to do this. So I'm really excited about all the cool things that he's going to do on his server. But I don't know when his server is going to be up to play on. But anyway, I'm rambling about video games, and I'm sure like 99% of you don't care about video games, especially old video games like Star Wars Galaxies. So, yeah, this is what I'm going to do is just sit here and stare off into the sunset. Well, the sun's not setting, but stare off into the sunny sky all day long and try to get to sleep around 10 p.m. And then hopefully the trailer's ready on time. And then my main concern after that is going to be weather. And I'm a little bit pissed off at the scheduling. They contacted me twice on the scheduling, asking me like what schedule I wanted to do. And I told them that I was going to do the Garden City delivery over the weekend to the Menards in Garden City, and I was going to do the Menards in Topeka, Kansas over the weekend. And I would start Monday morning. As soon as Lowe's opened at 7 a.m., I would deliver to Lowe's. And that's where I would start my Monday. What did these geniuses do? They left my delivery schedule the same. So basically, the way they have the delivery schedule set up is that I'm going to be starting my day in Garden City, Kansas, Monday morning. So I'm only going to be able to make it to like Manhattan, Kansas on Monday because I'm starting all the way in Garden City. So even after I told them all of that, they still scheduled me the exact same way that it was originally scheduled. I don't even know why they asked me what in the hell my ETA was and what schedule I wanted whenever they were just going to schedule it the exact same way it was already listed on the damn original freight bill. So yeah, they have my Monday finishing in Manhattan, Kansas, which is me doing like, I don't know, 2 or 3 deliveries, 3 or 4 deliveries over the course of like 100 miles. So like I will probably be done with all that stuff by like 11 a.m. And that's all they have me scheduled for on Monday. But I'm not going to make a big stink out of it because almost all the places that I deliver to, they'll take the load anytime their shipping and receiving is open. Last time I was doing deliveries like a week early. So I just don't want to deal with it. They've already called and gotten appointment times and confirmation numbers and all kinds of crap. And I don't want to, have them have to go through all that again. And it's just going to piss off the shipping and receiving people at all the locations of them calling and rescheduling. And if I have them call and redo the appointments, multiple times, then yeah, whenever I do get there, they may make a stink out of the appointment time because they had to deal with it multiple times. So yeah, I don't really don't want to mess with it, but yeah, they only have me doing like 3 or 4 deliveries. Um, let me actually pull up the email. Yeah, it's even though I have a good signal, it's taking forever for anything to load. Uh, you know, all right, they have me doing more deliveries than that. So they have me doing uh, one delivery in Salina on Monday, and then Home Depot in Manhattan after that, and then 2 deliveries in Topeka, and then Lawrence and Leavenworth. That's 6 deliveries, and then one Kansas City delivery. So that's 7 deliveries that they have me doing on Monday. And then Tuesday is I start again in Kansas City on Tuesday. And I do like 8 deliveries around the Kansas City area on Tuesday. And then they have me going down and doing like 2 Wichita deliveries on Tuesday. And then they have me starting Wednesday doing 3 Wichita deliveries. And then driving to Tulsa and finishing up Wednesday in Tulsa. I am hoping to be way ahead of this schedule, but I might actually have difficulty with this schedule. If the roads are snow covered, it might actually be really difficult for me to even maintain this schedule and be done by Wednesday. Um, According to this schedule, I'll be done by the end of the day Wednesday, but I think I can probably be done by the end of the day Tuesday. I have 26 total deliveries. I'm going to be getting 2 of them done over the weekend. That'll leave me with 12 deliveries and or not 12 deliveries, 24 deliveries, and I think I can do 12 deliveries a day. If it was good weather, I would say with like fair, I would be fairly certain that I could do 12 deliveries in a day. Because a lot of these deliveries are like in this, they're within a few miles of each other. There's not a whole lot of drive time in between them. And like the Lowe's at 7 a.m. in Salina, um, I've had Lowe's people like unload the trailer early at like I might be able to get out of there an hour early. The Lowe's shipping and receiving people, a lot of them show up at like 6 a.m. So as soon as I see them show up, I'll go in there and unload the trailer, and all they have to do is sign the paperwork. So that'll put me an hour ahead of schedule. But we'll have to wait and see because it's right now it's forecast as like really heavy snow across Kansas on Friday and Saturday. It's supposed to end at some point Saturday. And Saturday is when I am supposed to arrive in Kansas. I think I should arrive in Kansas at like around noon on Saturday. And that's when it's supposed to be like at the peak, like really bad storm, I think. So I might end up, instead of doing the Garden City delivery on Saturday, I might just hang out in western Colorado or eastern Kansas on Saturday at the edge of the storm. And then on Sunday, I'll go do the Garden City and the Salina, Kansas delivery. That's what I might end up doing. Because my original plan was to drive, do the Garden City delivery at the end of my drive shift Saturday morning, and then drive back up to I-70 and set at the truck stop at I-70 in Oakley, Kansas. I think it's Oakley. And then on Sunday, drive on into Salina and do the Menard Salina delivery. And then go park at the Lowe's and camp out overnight at the Lowe's to do the delivery Monday morning. But I think I might do the Garden City and Salina Menards both on Sunday because it's supposed to be snowing really, really heavy snow on Saturday. And the heavy snow is basically making it to where I was thinking about backroading it from Garden City, Kansas to Salina. It would save me about 60 miles of driving to take a more direct route on some back roads. But with heavy snow, absolutely not. I am not driving back roads. I'm going to be driving straight back north from Garden City, straight north to the interstate. That road will be the best maintained road out of Garden City, in and out of Garden City. So anyway, I'm starting to ramble. And this was mainly just a driving video. And it looks like we're going to have some interesting driving videos in the near future with me driving around in some snow. I'm sure that it's going to be snowing, probably while I'm driving across Wyoming. Hopefully it's not too bad. Hopefully it's not snowing, but it looks like I'm going to be driving in some snow around Laramie. Just hoping it's not too bad. And I hope I can beat the snow. We'll see. But anyway, I'll wrap this up and get it uploading. I think last time I was here, I had issues uploading. I wasn't able to upload videos from here because the connection was so slow. But I'll try to upload it. Anyway, That's it for me. And whenever I start rolling, I'll try to make driving videos. Anyway, bye.